Tonight on the Night Team. It's now been 2 years since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, which triggered Kentucky's abortion ban. Now, reproductive health care groups in Kentucky are seeing a heightened demand for services.
This is where we do healing. This is where we organize.
Plus, we're hearing from the Louisville National Weather Service on what impacts Kentuckiana could see as Beryl makes its way to Texas.
So we're a little bit worried about flash flood potential.
And later, as one skyscraper is planned to go up in downtown Louisville, another existing skyscraper is going into default. The WHAS11 Night Team starts now. It's been more than 2 years since our country's highest court overturned Roe v. Wade. And right now, groups are working to increase maternal health care across right here in Kentucky. Thank you for joining us here on the Night Team. I'm Alex Dieterer. Senior reporter Isaiah Kim Martinez talked to one organization funding doula services here in the state, and they tell him the need since 2022 has only become more clear.
I think Kentucky has a lot of work to do.
Work that's gotten more intensive, says Leah Jones, since Kentucky's strict abortion ban went into effect just over 2 years ago.
One of the states that has the worst maternal mortality rates.
Jones is the deputy director of Sister Song, a national activist group that's funded full-spectrum doula and mental health services for new mothers and mothers-to-be since the pandemic.
Diapers, wipes, car seats, strollers, basic essential needs.
Talking first over Zoom, Jones, a Louisville native herself, then showed me around their Louisville office this week.
This is the meeting area for community programming.
Currently, Sister Song's Birth Justice Care Fund operates in 4 states, focusing primarily on assisting people of color. Though Jones tells me this state has a unique challenge.
Race doesn't really matter when it comes to who is in need in Kentucky.
The group has spent more than $200,000 in Kentucky alone, coordinating with birth workers who let clients know what's available to them.
We also like to think of it as like a community space for folks to just be able to just feel seen, heard.
And since 2022, we're told the need for services across the board and easy access to them has only become more evident.
It's supposed to be everywhere I go.
Shanice Nelson is the founder of Anchored Beginnings Lactation Support, one of the organizations that partners with Sister Song.
I educate and counsel individuals on breastfeeding techniques.
With the only exception to Kentucky's abortion ban being to save the life of the pregnant woman, Nelson tells me in-person education is that much more essential, especially for teenagers.
They're more so judged from being young and being a mom. I think it makes it even more challenging to ask for what you need.
In April, state lawmakers passed a bipartisan bill aimed at lowering Kentucky's maternal mortality rates. Among other provisions, it certifies pregnancy as a qualifying life event for health insurance coverage and maintains a hotline for patients needing mental health services.
And make sure that this is something long-lasting for moms.
Regardless, the work continues for Sister Song.
Being a space that people want to come to.
In a post-Roe state and country. Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11 on your side.
In the 2 years since Roe v. Wade was overturned, it triggered Kentucky's abortion ban. Pro-choice advocates say fewer medical students are choosing to study in Kentucky. The Kentucky Reproductive Freedom Fund has begun putting up billboards like this across the Commonwealth. The billboards say that more doctors are choosing to leave the state, and the ones that stay have to scramble to finish paperwork before they can provide emergency operations.
To the point where we're having to fill this paperwork out before we're able to provide care to them, which has halted their care and definitely caused harm even to our patients.
Meanwhile, Kentucky's Right to Life calls the abortion ban a commitment to protective preborn Kentuckians.
That is protecting lives. It's ensuring that mothers who may have health care issues we want them to be seen, appropriately. But it's also protecting the lives of Kentucky's most vulnerable citizens, and that is preborn Kentuckians.
According to the Guttmacher Institute, a pro-abortion research and advocacy organization, more than 4,000 Kentucky women drove across state lines to access an abortion last year. Well, it has been another gorgeous day here in Kentuckiana, but all eyes are on the tropics as Beryl inches closer to the Texas coast. And depending on the trajectory in the next few days, we could see some impacts right here in Kentuckiana. According to the National Weather Service, rainfall isn't the only weather concern.
So we're a little bit worried about flash flood potential. But with a landfalling tropical system like this, if it comes at the right angle to us, you can also get tornadoes out of those. You may not get as strong of the winds, but you can get quick spin-up tornadoes from that as well.
Meteorologist Matt Rudkin joins us now to discuss the latest track of the storm. Now, Matt, are there any changes to the projected track of this storm that we're seeing?
Hey, Alex. Yeah, so the good news here is the latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center down in Miami was just released at the top of the show. It is still a tropical storm. Mind you, it's a couple miles away from a Category 1 hurricane. This is it. This is Beryl approaching the coast of Texas. The good news here is as it gets closer to shore, it can only get so much stronger, right? Once it goes over land, it will rapidly weaken. Coming up in my full forecast in about 15 minutes, I'm going to really take a deep dive on this and its local impacts here in Indiana and Kentucky in the next couple of days. Here right now tonight, nothing going on, right? The closest rainfall is northwest of St. Louis. Our part of Indiana and Kentucky looking mighty fine. Downtown, I should say, like I said, looking pretty good as well. Not a lot of traffic, people starting to unwind after the long holiday weekend. It's still pretty warm out there, 83 at the top of the hour at Ollie International, but down the road at Bowman, 75. So Louisville's classic urban heat island certainly in effect for tonight. Tomorrow, warm and muggy temperatures. Likely going to get well into the 90s by the afternoon, mostly sunny. I'll talk more about this, but focus on Beryl and its local impacts coming your way in about 15 minutes.
Thank you, Matt. New tonight, 2 people have been killed and more than a dozen more were injured after an early morning mass shooting in Detroit. According to Detroit police, the shooting happened at a block party in the city's east side. Detroit police have released few details about the shooting or the circumstances surrounding the incident. However, they did say they will host a news conference with Detroit's mayor where they will detail a new strategy regarding block parties. And here locally, a woman is dead after an overnight hit and run in the Russell neighborhood. Police responded to reports of a crash right here on 16th and Broadway just before midnight. When police arrived, they found a woman in her 20s that had been hit by a car. She was taken to the hospital where she later died. Police believe they are looking for a white Mazda, according to the latest information. The car was traveling at a high rate of speed on 16th Street when it hit the woman who was apparently crossing the road. Anyone with information is encouraged to call the anonymous tip line. That number is 574-LMPD. And new tonight, a man is dead after a crash in Old Louisville. Police say just before 5 this evening, they responded to the crash on 4th and Hill Street. According to police, a motorcyclist was traveling along 4th Street when he disregarded the red light and hit an SUV traveling on Hill Street. The motorcyclist was taken to the hospital where he did later die.
President Biden is coming back. He's a comeback kid. He's a fighter. He's a champion.
Rallying support in the battleground state of Pennsylvania, President Joe Biden is on the campaign trail as more Democratic lawmakers call for him to drop out of the race. As we sit just a few weeks away from the nomination conventions, Democrats are scrambling, split over whether President Biden has the best chance at beating former President Donald Trump in a rematch of the 2020 presidential election. And as ABC's Selena Wang reports, Biden is losing more support.
Tonight, growing panic in a critical meeting about President Biden's future, with several top House Democrats privately saying he should step aside. Sources tell ABC News Representative Jerry Nadler, Adam Smith, Mark Takano, and Joe Morell suggested Biden should end his campaign. Leader Hakeem Jeffries did not take a stance, the sources said. But President Biden on offense, hitting the campaign trail in battleground Pennsylvania, fighting to save his own candidacy.
And I, honest to God, have never been more optimistic about America's future if we stick together. I really mean it.
Visiting a black church in Philadelphia, then stopping by a campaign office. The president defiant, still confident in his party support. Even as more Democratic leaders lose confidence in him. 5 Democratic members of Congress now publicly calling for President Biden to drop out. Even Biden's closest allies acknowledge time is running out.
I believe that he can do it, but I think that this is a really critical week. I do think the clock is ticking.
And others questioning his ability to defeat Donald Trump.
He should be mopping the floor with Donald Trump. Joe Biden is running against a criminal. It should not be even close, and there's only one reason it is close, and that's the president's age.
Biden trying to turn around his image, speaking exclusively with ABC's George Stephanopoulos.
And if you stay in and Trump is elected and everything you're warning about comes to pass, how will you feel in January?
I feel as long as I gave it my all and I did the goodest job as I know I can do. That's what this is about.
Well, that is the answer that most concerned me as well. This is not just about whether he gave it the best college try, but rather whether he made the right decision to run or to pass the torch.
Congressman Adam Schiff saying Vice President Kamala Harris, quote, very well could win overwhelmingly against Trump. In New Orleans this weekend, Harris trying to shift the focus back to the former president.
This is probably the most significant election of our lifetime. You have the former president who is running to become president again, who has openly talked about his admiration of dictators and his intention to be a dictator on day one.
The next few days. The owners of a downtown Louisville skyscraper are being sued for allegedly defaulting on a nearly $30 million loan. According to a new lawsuit, the owners of the Dinger Tower on 4th Street have failed to make payment on their $28 million loan since November. Now, Wilmington Trust, which is the lender, claims the owners of the tower owe more than $30 million due to late fees, taxes, and other fees. Wilmington Trust has moved to foreclose on the property. And while this lawsuit is new, a new 27-story hotel has been proposed for downtown. Well-known developing company Zio is planning to build a $175 million hotel in the heart of downtown. The CEO of New York-based Zio, Nick Camposano, is a Louisville native and St. X grad. Camposano is the developer behind multiple projects here in Louisville. The Canopy Hotel, which is right across the street from where the proposed hotel would be, and the large Nulu Crossing project.
It's a great project. It's great to see investment in downtown. The Zio company has done several projects downtown, so I think it'll be a high quality. All the other businesses.
In a statement shared with WHAS11, Camposano said, in part, quote, we have the confidence in the geography. We want to make sure that people from all over the world are able to visit Louisville and enjoy modern hospitality amenities, end quote.